They've been remarkable in that way. I have to say. I mean, there's two sides to the story. I mean, the players are just into it and happy to be there every day, and it's more so of the guys, the Jakar Sampsons of the world, the Jeremy Grants, the Hollis Thompsons, guys that probably know, look, if I wasn't here, I wouldn't be in the NBA. And they just pump out good, hard days, and they work hard. T.J. McConnell's, Phil Pressey's. They're just – and I know this sounds like overkill, but it's true, and I think it's absolutely amazing that these guys are just into it every single day. They're up for practice. They're up for games. They're excited to play. They play hard. They've lost 28 games in a row, 18 this season, but some of them have seen all 28. And yet last night, there we are in Memphis, and 3 minutes to go in a close game, they're diving on floors and going after balls. And and I think I said it in that Sports Illustrated thing that you alluded to earlier, that I think is the biggest story, besides the obvious, all the losing. But I think that's the biggest story coming out of these 2+ seasons, how Brett Brown has just kept these guys together.
So what is it? Okay, this is interesting to me. Last night, they're in the 6th game of a 6-game road trip against a team that won 55 games, went to the Western Conference Finals. They virtually have no NBA talent on the floor at times. And yet, for the 6th time in 8 games, they had the lead in the 4th quarter. I mean, does that suggest that this team, I don't want to say it's close, but is that to suggest that the team is going in the right direction in terms of Brett Brown and the organization? Because there's so much criticism about, well, there's no veterans around. Who are they going to learn from? And all of this negative stuff about the fact that they don't win. But, man, they're right there against a team that literally could have been in the NBA Finals last year.
And if you're somebody that's fully on board with the process, it's what more could you ask? You're watching a team that's playing exciting games, that's trying hard, yet they're doing the ultimate goal, and that is losing. If you're an outsider looking in, these players want to win. They are desperate to win a game. The coach wants to win. That's the other side that I see of it also, Mike, is when games are over, I see Brett Brown 10 minutes after he's, just suffered another gut-wrenching loss. I sit courtside last night and watch him coach that team against Memphis, probably knowing he's got very, very little chance of winning, but just coaching his guts out to try to win. We see these guys in the locker room right after a loss, like just bleeding, hearts, their hearts bleeding for a win. You see that raw emotion. That is there every single day. Fans, it's easy to sit on the outside and watch, and God bless them, and that's understandable. But when you see this gut-wrenching stuff day in and day out, game after game, and then to see how they turn it around the next day and have a positive attitude coming back, it's truly amazing. And I really do believe that goes directly to Brett Brown.
Bob Cooney's with us from the Philadelphia Daily News. Give me your thoughts on all this Okafor stuff. First, on the off-the-court stuff. I mean, number one, do you believe that someone higher than Brett Brown needs to come out and say something regarding this young man? And should fans be concerned that one of the centerpieces of this has had so many different off-the-court reports in just the last couple of days?
Absolutely, to both of them. I do think – I can't think, and I wrote this today, I don't think this should all fall on Brett Brown. He has his hands full enough with trying to coach this team, the scaled-down roster that management has given him and basically said, here, you're on the front line. We know what our plan is, and Brett is involved in the plan also. But he's at the front lines every day, and to have to deal with the coaching, the keeping morale up when you're losing all these games, trying to figure out how to win a game for these kids. He has enough on his plate there for him to have to oversee and to constantly, be the front man and all these things go down. Quite frankly, I just think it's unfair, and that's what I wrote today. I think management could do a better job of curtailing these kids a little bit. Look, we all understand the process, and many, many, many are on board with the process, and I understand it. But you had to foresee when you were going to get this many young kids, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, you had to foresee, okay, look, we have to treat them a little bit differently than a normal NBA team off the court. This isn't the San Antonio Spurs where Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Parker rule the nest and tell young guys, this is the way of the NBA and this is the way you're going to go. This isn't the Houston Rockets of old where Sam Hinkie was, where there was veteran leadership all throughout. That's just not there. And I've seen it and many former players will talk to you about it, that you need that in a locker room. You need that when guys are talking about going out. I've seen an Elton Brand go over to a group and say, wait, what are you doing? You might want to rethink that. Let's do this instead. I've seen that happen, and it goes a long, long way. And should fans be a little bit scared of what's going on with Okafor? Absolutely. No question. I'm not saying he's a wayward kid in any means, but he's done 3 pretty stupid things, and that's way too much this early in his NBA career.
Yeah, no, you got the incident in Boston, the driving 108 miles an hour on the Ben Franklin. There's a report today that he tried to use a fake ID last month, like as if no one's going to know who he is. And then obviously there's a report that there was a gun pulled on him back in a couple of months ago. So, yeah, his name has been out there a lot. Let me ask you about him on the floor. There's a lot of people who have looked at some numbers and said, man, defensively when he's out there, he's a problem. Him and Noel have not meshed well together. So is Okafor the slam dunk that we many fans look at him to be?
Yeah, I like I said when he was playing well also, it's way too early to tell. And Brett Brown has to figure things out. And that's funny. I just got done writing my piece for tomorrow. That's exactly what I wrote. It's such a process of trying to figure things out. Basically, he has 2 centers. He has 2 centers that he's trying to work together. He said last year, when he thought this year he was going to be playing with Nerlens Noel and Joel Embiid, he said, I can't wait to see those 2 together because Joel can step outside a little bit, hit some jumpers. It opens things up for Nerlens to roam. And then when they need Joel Embiid to post up, he can do that also. So he had all these things going on in his head. Well, Jahlil Okafor is a different type of player. He is not an outside shooter. He is not a threat from 15, 18, 20 feet that Brett Brown thought maybe Joel Embiid would be. So basically, he's trying to mesh together 2 centers. They can say they've worked on Nerlens Noel's 15 to 18-foot shot, and that's improved, and this, that, and the other. You can take that 18-foot shot and throw it in the ocean, as far as I'm concerned, with Nerlens Noel. Forget about it. I'm still convinced the way he's going to score is get a couple of baskets on follows and just running the floor, a couple of baskets. Maybe you run a set for him and he beats a guy with a power dribble, get to the foul line 6 times, make 4, then boom, there's your 12 points automatically right there. Yeah. And build on that and get him to be a little bit of a better offensive rebounder and get some junk that way. But the struggle right now is, 1, you don't have legitimate NBA point guards to be able to run a show that you want to try to run. And 2, like I said, he is stuck with 2 true blue NBA centers. I mean, it's hard to move either one of them out to the 4 spot right now.
Do you think, Bob, going back to Okafor off the floor, do you think that the 76ers should have disciplined him in some way?
I don't know that they didn't. Yeah, from what Brett Brown said on Friday when we were in Houston, and just talking about the Boston incident because we didn't know about the other ones yet then. He said it would be handled internally. There will be discipline taken. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he has been fined for each of the incidents that happened. That's concerning also. If the team is fining or disciplining, doing whatever they think they need to do, it's not enough because kids are going out there and doing it again. As I wrote in today's story, Nerlens Noel, his rookie year, got fined many, many, many times for being late to practices.
Wow.
When he should have been there. When he should have been there on time. We're talking upwards of $1,000, a source told me, when he should have been there rehabbing his knee. And it's happening numerous times. We have kids. I have a 20-year-old kid. When you're trying to discipline them, you hope the one time you tell them is enough. Apparently, this hasn't been the case with the Sixers.
All right, Bob Cooney from the News. By the way, you covered this loss in this process. Who's more fun to watch, the Sixers or the Eagles?
Oh, I got to go with the Sixers. I really do. And
Isn't it unbelievable?
I watch the Eagles play, and maybe it's because your expectations are where they are with the Eagles, and now you're scraping the toilet bowl with them, and that fall is just unbelievable. With the Sixers, you started in the toilet bowl, so any kind of effort, a close loss, 4 close losses in a row, 6 out of 8, that's fun, that's exciting. They play hard. I mean, Mike, I'm sure on your show, I've been away for a while, but I'm sure on your show, people are questioning the effort of the Eagles.
No doubt.
I mean, that's one of the main topies.
Yeah, and they're not questioning the effort of the Sixers. That's the difference.
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah, they're not questioning that. These kids are bereft. The Eagles supposedly had the talent, but they just don't appear to have the effort.
Well,
So
Bob Cooney,
two different things.
Continues tomorrow night. You'll see Kobe for the last time in Philadelphia as he's going to retire, and the Sixers probably best chance for a win in 2015. I don't know that you've looked at the rest of the schedule in December, but is this the best shot?
If not tomorrow, and it's funny, before Kobe even announced last night, I had been saying a lot of people were saying that tomorrow was their best chance, and I kept saying, I don't know. I don't know if Kobe comes in here and gets beat by this team. I know Kobe's not Kobe anymore, but I don't know if he would allow it. Now that he's retiring, I wonder if somehow he wraps his hands around that game tomorrow night and doesn't let his team lose. If the Sixers lose that one, then you have, Denver coming in on Saturday, a 1 o'clock in the afternoon game, which is kind of tough for a West Coast team to do, but Denver's not very good. But if that doesn't happen, if the Sixers don't win one of those two games, you're probably talking 2016 before you see a W.
All right, and of course we know that I think they play New Year's Day and the next day in L.A., both nights back to back. So they'll get another shot against the Lakers in a couple of weeks. All right, Bob, we appreciate the time as always, pal. Good stuff.
Mike, thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate it.